Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Chris from Alchemy RPG. I am the co-founder and designer of the platform, and I'm here to show you something I'm really excited about, which is Blades in the Dark, finally on Alchemy RPG. This game is designed by John Harper and produced by Evil Hat Productions, and it's an amazing game that's been around for nearly a decade now and has really set a new standard for what tabletop games are. It's super influential and it's super fun to be a scoundrel in a criminal organization running around an industrial city doing really cool things. So it's been a minute since we put out a video on the internet. And so if you're just tuning in and you don't know what alchemy is at all, let me tell you about it real quick. Alchemy is a VTT, or a virtual tabletop, that is really built for telling cinematic stories. Alchemy specifically is sort of built in a way that is around this cinematic scene-based structure. So you craft scenes using visuals, motion graphics, ambient sound, dynamic music, to really pull your players into a deep sense of immersion and create vibe. Vibe is a word we're obsessed with at Alchemy, and we love creating experiences for you and your friends to come together through integrated voice and video chat, synced music, and visuals to tell awesome stories together, and create magical moments and memories. And though we are sort of built around this philosophy first, Alchemy does support all of the features that you need to play some of your tactical games like Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder. Though we're not virtualizing the table in the traditional sense of a VTT, we do have things like integrated maps and grids, hex grids and square grids and pointy hex grids and measuring tools and fog of war. All of those things are integrated into Alchemy as well through a tactical mode, so you can really play out any game, rules as written, however you need to. But we don't need any of that for Blades in the Dark, which is sort of awesome because we can really play to the strengths of Alchemy. It really makes this game just a great fit for our platform. For those of you who are already familiar with Alchemy, you've probably backed our Kickstarter or saw our Kickstarter or have heard people talking about Alchemy. There are a lot of people on the internet who really love what we do. And there are a lot of people on the internet who also don't fully understand what we do because it is so different in its implementation from what would be considered a traditional VTT. I think because of that, we've sort of developed a design philosophy that again really plays toward trying to go our own path or make things different. There are so many VTTs out there or digital tools for playing role-playing games, and to us, a lot of them feel like they are sort of doing a lot of the same things. A lot of them are, sort of top down, based around miniatures, based around really kind of creating a digital proxy of that physical experience that we all know and that we all love. And that really is probably the experience that hooked us all on tabletop games in the first place. If you've been around, you also know that at Alchemy, we build all of our game integrations in-house. And so whether that's Dungeons and Dragons or Alien, the role-playing game, Fabula Ultima, Daggerheart, which we're working on right now, it's our team of designers, engineers, creatives, graphic designers, all working to build what we feel is our interpretation of these games based on the creator's vision. And in the past, I think that design philosophy for how we build those games has really been predicated on two things. One, simplicity, and one, flexibility. At Alchemy, I think one of our biggest differentiators is we want the gaming experience to be very visual and to look really slick and have a strong user experience. But we also want to juxtapose that with extreme flexibility, where the rule of cool always takes precedent, where the GM can break any rule, or you can create any type of character, mix settings, mix content. And I think that in both of those things, in the pursuit of both of those things, some things have fallen by the wayside. For example, these are really complex games. Many of them are. Many of them have very complex rule systems or mechanical aspects. And when they're designed to play out at a table with paper, those things are really easy. to implement or to employ. But when you try to automate those things through a computer where everything sort of has to make computational sense, that could be really difficult. And so if we strive too far down the path of simplicity, we're not doing the mechanical aspects of the game justice. We're actually creating more work for you to have to do these things on a computer, whereas passing a card around the table or moving a miniature or writing in the margins of a character sheet is really simple to do at the table. Now, with flexibility, that kind of introduces another pitfall, which is if we create everything to be sort of boundless, to where you can break the rules and alter and change things, then it can be hard as a new player jumping into a new game system to know, how many dots am I supposed to assign to this attribute? Or, what's my starting health or my starting resolve? Those bounds and bumpers and guides help streamline the experience and get you playing faster. And that's really important. And so what I want to say to of you who have been around or have experience with alchemy is that we're entering into a new era of building our games in-house that is built on bespoke automations, guided character creation, and really amplifying the aspects of what makes a game special. For example, in Alien, stress and panic responses are super important. They're super central to that game. So we're going to build some really great automations around that. Blades in the Dark, there are several things that make this game special. Claims maps and clocks, just to give a couple examples. We're going to make those things, we have made those things really special. I'm excited to show you Blades because this is our first implementation of this whole new design philosophy. And after creating 40 games, we've kind of put everything that we've learned into Blades in the Dark, all the feedback that our community has given us, and all of the feedback that people outside of our community have given us on places like Reddit and YouTube, where the comments flow freely, I should say. And that feedback is unadulterated and unfiltered, and that's sometimes some of the best feedback you can get. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into Blades in the Dark. So first, let's take a look at our marketplace, where we can see what games within the Blades in the Dark line we are introducing today. So we have the core book for Blades in the Dark here. We also have the SRD, which means that you can jump in today, right now, without anything but an email address and a password, sign up for Alchemy for free, play Blades in the Dark for free, and experience everything I'm going to show you for free. We also have Deep Cuts, which is the latest expansion to the rule set and the setting, coming soon. Shouldn't be too much longer, but we're working on building the integrations for those new rules. But yeah, on that note of launching a new game system with a free variant, this is something that we've been committed to since our version 1 in November. Every single game system that we introduce on Alchemy will have a free entry point, so you'll never have to play to experience the core foundations of the game, meaning character sheets and dice automations and simple mechanics. What you will buy in our marketplace is the full books, the artwork, the stories, the settings, everything that you would buy in a book. You can kind of think about this being the book and this being the character sheets that your buddy printed out and gave you. I should also say that Alchemy, since our version 1 launch, is now completely free. We used to have restrictions on the number of games and characters and universes that you could create. Those things are now gone. Create as many things as you want on it, upload as many assets as you want, create as many characters, games, use it to its fullest capacity, completely free. We do still have our subscription, but it is for people who want to support us and choose to support us. And for those people, they have access to our roadmap and the ability to upvote on our upcoming games and upcoming features that they want to see on the platform. And this is how we're building our development roadmap, is by those alchemists who receive votes every month, and they get to spend them on our roadmaps. Also come with other cool perks like an essence exchange, where they can spend loyalty points, or what we call essence, to purchase games without spending money. And also our transmutation journal, which is a one-to-one connection between our dev team and our alchemists. And then we also have early access features in the lab, things like 3D dice, which we're currently testing right now, comments on different aspects of the app, parallaxing spatial overlays, and much more. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into a content universe. When you purchase a game like Blades in the Dark, you will have access to the content universe. And that content universe is where everything comes together. So for Blades in the Dark, if we jump into this, the first tab we're going to see is modules. So these are all of the modules that I own for Blades in the Dark. What's really cool about this screen is you can actually create your own modules that can live within this universe, where you can create homebrew content, NPCs, pre-made characters, assets, handouts, scenes, all kinds of things that are actually completely integrated into the core game system for Blades in the Dark. And that makes it to where you're not having to kind of bolt things onto the Blades in the Dark game that are in some other location. It's all fully integrated. And that also gives you access to use some of the content from the modules that you purchased in your own homebrew modules. The other cool thing that this tab does, or the universe does, is it also shows you all of the games that you've created for Blades in the Dark and all of your characters. So you sort of have one place for all of that stuff. If you're someone that just plays D&D or loves Cyberpunk Red or Blades in the Dark, you could just sort of come to the universe and this could be your whole alchemy experience if you want it to be. Inside of a module, the first thing you're going to see is articles. And this is the entire book broken out into article form. And it is one for one, every word of the book, every piece of art built out in a digital reader. So if we jump into something like the core system, we're going to be greeted with a big, beautiful piece of artwork. And then we're going to scroll into the book itself and start reading it. And we strive to make the articles in a universe look exactly like the layouts of the book. So things feel familiar and things are easy to read. You can also jump around. You can copy links to certain headings within that article and share them with your players. So this just makes it really easy to be able to fully dive into different aspects of the book and get the information that you need to play the game. Outside of articles, we've got all of the gameplay content. So these are all of my NPCs that can be pulled directly into a game, my pre-made characters that can be pulled into a game, different handouts here. So you can see it. If I open up this map here, I've got the full map that I can pan and zoom, but I've also got some annotations here that will tell me about what these different places mean and what they are. I've got items. These items can get pulled into my game. I have actions, which is our basic automation system, which I say basic, but they can get pretty powerful, even to the point of writing syntax in our dice language to really do whatever you want, to reference tracker values or to reference attribute or skill values and to create complex roles that can allow you to build macros and automations to do whatever you want. Some actions are more simple, like roll tables, which you can do really cool things with. There's a lot of cool roll tables and Blades. And you can also link actions. So if you want to roll on this table and make a sound go off and throw a message into the journal and throw a complex dice roll onto it, you can do that. We also have all the scenes here. So these are different aspects of the story that you can, or of the game world that you can throw into your game and run your characters through. Scenes can have motion graphics. They can have parallaxes. They can have music. They can have sound. You can associate NPCs with a scene. You can put maps on a scene, and you can create notes for a scene as well. And then one of the coolest things about a universe is all of the assets used in the book are available to you to share with your players for different things to use in your own homebrew modules. We've got all of the district art here for Blades in the Dark. We've got all of the maps. There's all kinds of stuff in here that you can use to build your own content. All right, so that's the universe. Let's jump into a game. First, let me show you how you create a game. It's pretty simple. You just hit the Create Game button here. It's going to choose your game system, which is Blades in the Dark. And then from here, you can choose a quick start. And that's going to grab all that content from that module and create a quick start game for you. And then below that, if you've got music or motion graphics or anything else like that on Alchemy that you've purchased or things that you've made in your own custom universes, those can get added as well. All right, let's jump into the game. So the first thing you see when you come into a game is you see the lobby experience. And so here's where I can check my camera, I can check my mic levels, I can adjust my sound and my volume before I join the game. I can also see who's in the game if there were other players waiting for me, and any content warnings that the GM might have put on this game. So jumping into the Alchemy experience, you can see that I have this lobby scene that greets me. And on that lobby scene, I have a motion effect that's playing. I've also got some music queued up here. So if we wanted to listen to music, we could do that. But the first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to add some players to this game. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to add my test account. And keep in mind that when you add additional players, they can also be secondary game masters as well. I'm going to add my other test account here. All right, so now I've got 2 players. I'm a game master. We're ready to go. Let's go through building a character. So if I grab this player here and I click on them, as a game master, I'm now impersonating that player. And if they don't have a character, the first thing it's going to do is prompt them to create a character. So this is the exact same screen that your players will see when they join your game and they hit the Create Character button. So from here, there's a few different options. They can choose a pre-made character from the connected universe. If you connected one of your homebrew universes or modules, you would also have pre-mades that you've built that would show up here. I can also pull characters in from my library. So if I've created characters in a different Blades in the Dark game, they'll show up here and I can add those characters to this game as well. We also have the Create Character button, and here you've got all of the playbooks. So the 7 core playbooks from Blades, but also the weird playbooks like Vampire and Ghost and the Hull. In this, though, we're going to grab the character generator, which is my favorite way to create a character. So in this, we've got an 8-step process, which is mapped out in the core Blades in the Dark book that will walk you through the 8 things you need to do to start playing. Keep in mind, for our character creation experience, this is meant to be streamlined. So there are tools out there on the internet that are exhaustive. They are diving into every aspect of the game, helping you learn the game or read the book alongside of creating the character. But in Alchemy, we're in the game. Our players are behind us, our game masters behind us, waiting for us to create this character. So rules as written, we want to go through and hit all the points. But we also want it to be streamlined. So we've got our 8-step process here. The first thing it's going to ask me to do is to choose a playbook. And it gives me some pointers here that tells me what a playbook is. I can click off into any of these links, and I can go into that universe article and read it. It's not going to be the whole book. I'm not going to drop into the middle of an article or into the middle of a chapter. It's just the article on the lurk, and it's going to give me everything that I need to know about that character playbook to make a decision. So if we kind of page through these different playbooks, we can kind of see all of the different ones that are offered in Blades. They give us a little description. They give us the link to the universe article. But once I make a decision, I can just hit continue. And the next step in the process is super quick, super simple. Choose a heritage. So from here, I'm choosing where I am from, or where my character is from within the Shattered Isles. So if I page through this, I've got different locations on the world map, and it's going to tell me a little bit about all of those locations. And then once I make a decision, I can add more information. So maybe, I'm from Scotland and my family is Leviathan hunters and we work in the factory. Pretty uninspired there, but you'll come up with something cooler. Below that, we'll choose a background. And from here, we can hit the drop down and pull any of the backgrounds from the book. We can also randomize, so it kind of facilitates like rolling for a background. And then it'll give you a little bit of information on that background. So I'm going to hit continue to move to the next one. Keep in mind that at any point, maybe I'm like, actually, I don't want to leave that blank. I want to go in here and type something. And you can use these to kind of skip around. So next up, we're going to assign our 4 action dots. And so in this, we've got for the lurk, the action dots assigned to where your starting character might be, but it will ask you to choose one more because we have 4 dots to assign across different aspects of these attributes. So this will give you a little bit of guidance on how to do that, how to spend those points, including, typically you can choose one from heritage, one from background, or wherever you want. And the cool thing about these is at character creation, you can only add 2 dots into any one of these locations. And so even though I've got another point to spend, it's not allowing me to add that additional dot. And that's just a way to keep some bumpers on this for your players to where they don't create characters that are sort of out of compliance with your game or the rules of Blades in the Dark. So I'm going to grab my points. I've spent them all, and I'm going to move to the next step, which is to choose a special ability. So here we've got all of the special abilities for the lurk, and it's not showing me every special ability from every playbook. It's just giving me the information I need for the character playbook that I've chosen. And so from here, I can read about them, or I can just choose one that I want, like the Devil's Footsteps, and then I'm going to continue. Next, we're going to add our close friend and rival. And so in the same sense of the dots, like I was showing before, you can't also be a friend and a rival with someone. So we've sort of made these pips mutually exclusive. You also can't have 2 friends or 2 rivals. So again, that just helps you not make mistakes during character creation and enforces the rules of the game. So I'm going to choose a friend and a rival. Next, we're going to choose a vice. So again, I can randomize this to choose to kind of supplement rolling on the roll table, or I can choose a vice from the drop down. And then this vice is going to automatically filter my purveyor. There are different purveyors for different vices. And so those will show up in the drop downs below. And then finally, in Blades, it says at the end on step 8 to record your name, your alias, and your look. So we've got a random name generator here built from the roll tables in the Blades in the Dark core book. So I can generate a random name, and I can also generate a random alias, or I can hit these drop downs and browse them and choose which one I want. Same thing with look. I can hit the drop down here, or I can randomize those. And also take note that when I change my name, it updates up here, but I can always go up here and change my name myself, including my alias. I can also replace my image. So if I want to upload an image from my computer, I can just click and upload, and now I'm ready to go. So I'm going to save this character. All right. So now I've created the character. I am in my character sheet. You can see behind me that my game experience panels have shown up. My player avatar is updated with my character. And now we've got the character sheet for my lurk named Droxus Enigmata. And I'm my alias is Mamba. So here I've got my my playbook header. At any time I can click View Playbook and jump into that article. Um, Here I have my crew information. So if I have my crew name, I can put it here, and then I can update my look at any time, my vice and purveyor, my heritage, my background. All of that data is coming from the generator. But I've also got my stash and my coin here, my lifestyle, and here I've also got my friends, my enemies, my description for my character. But up here I've also got my ratings. So as my character progresses, I can take new dots and new upgrades. I can add more special abilities. If I take a status in veteran, I can add additional abilities from other playbooks, which are all listed here. So maybe I want to take sharpshooter from the hound. I can do that. My load is something in Blades where before you go on a score, you define your load or your loadout, and you can take a light load, a normal load, or a heavy load, which all have different drawbacks. So if I take a light load, you can see that my encumbrance updates here. I have 0 of 3 items in my load. So below are all the items available to me, and then my current load is here. And this is a drag and drop system where I can grab things and put them into my current load. So first here we have items from my playbook. So these are items that are specific to the lurk. And then these are all of the standard items within Blades in the Dark that you can add to your load. The first thing I'm probably going to want is my dark sight goggles. So I'm going to just drag those up, and you can see it increments my encumbrance there and lets me know when I'm going to be over encumbered or when I might want to think about taking a normal load and upgrading that. I'm also going to take, got to have a blade or 2 in Blades in the Dark, and how about a pistol? So there we go. I've got my load. Here I've got a notes section, which I can add notes to. And then mechanics is where I have all of my trackers, my actions. And if I want to use tactical, I've got a panel for that. So I'm going to hit save, and boom, here we go. Now we're in the play experience. So now that we have our character made, let's take a look at the game experience itself. So first of all, in Alchemy, everything sort of lives and dies by the journal. So the journal is a place where you can chat, you can roll dice, and you can do all kinds of other things. Everything that you do in the game is cataloged in the journal, and you'll see that throughout the rest of this demo. We also have a simple notes section here where you can keep notes. This is your party, who is currently connected to the game or in Blades, your crew. So this kind of represents your who's online, who's offline, who's away, what status are they, all of those things. This is kind of like your player character panel, and then your NPCs panel. So I know NPCs aren't a huge thing in Blades in the Dark, but sometimes it's nice to have that physical proxy when they're in that situation of the story. So that's what that panel's for. And then up here, we've got our tactical mode switch, where if I had a map on this scene, it would show up. But since I don't, it just drops a grid for me. And this is kind of nice because, if I wanted to draw out some relative distance and orientation, maybe I wanted to drop a token, I can do that like this. And then, we have our audio controls. We have search, so you can search the universe of content. And then we have a streaming panel. So this is probably a whole nother video, but you can stream directly from Alchemy. Now let's look at things that are a little bit more specific to Blades in the Dark. So first of all, I am currently impersonating this player character. So I still have my game master panels on the right, like my scenes, my story notes, my tools, which are my game trackers, and my actions as a GM, and my handouts here that I can share with players. So on the left is what your players are going to see in their game experience panels. And then in the center is how they access their character sheet and how they adjust their trackers. So in Blades in the Dark, kind of your primary and secondary trackers as a player, the ones you're touching the most are going to be trauma and stress. And so trauma is based on tags. And so this was an upgrade we made for Blades in the Dark where out of the wing tracker here, you can access a number of tags in a tag picker. And you can also add your own tags here. So if I want to do that, I can do it just like that, typing a tag and pressing enter. And then I can save that. And since there is an upper bound to your trauma in Blades before you ultimately die, that progress can sort of be tracked here. In Stress, Stress is tracked with pips, and we've made some cool custom pips for Blades in the Dark, the daggers, and wired that into our secondary wing tracker here. So those can be taken and tracked in real time. While we're on the subject of trackers, we'll jump into here because this is your tracker panel. And here is where you can track harm, healing, and armor uses. You can also create as many trackers as you want. So the trackers can also be collapsed for keeping things nice and clean. But you've got your lesser harm, your moderate harm, and your severe harm. And these sort of give you these indicators to tell you what these things actually do. So, for lesser harm, if I have a, scraped knee, then it's telling me here I'm going to have a reduced effect. And so that's sort of a narrative thing that would play out in the game. Moderate harm, maybe, I got stabbed. Then that's going to reduce my dice pool by 1d. And then severe harm, you're going to need some help. So healing, we went ahead and built clock trackers specifically for Blades in the Dark. So you've got one tracker already for healing. It's a 4-tick tracker. But you can also jump into the tracker panel here and create a new tracker. And if you want that to be a clock tracker, you can just select clock and you can change its color. So maybe we want it to be purple, and we want to give it can have a maximum value of 12 or anywhere in between 2 and 12. So let's say we want this to be a 12-tick tracker, and we're going to call it my project, something I'm working on with my character. So here is our 12 clock tracker, which ended up dropping into my armor uses here. That's okay, because I can just right click this and hit organize, and then I can move that into a new section if I want. So maybe I want to create a section here called projects or clocks or project clocks. And then I can move that here and save that. And now I'm going to have a new section for my project. So maybe I'm tracking multiple things, and this is what a 12-tick clock tracker looks like. Yeah, that's trackers. Here we've got pip trackers for your armor uses. Now let's pop back over here to ratings. So here's where I've got all of my rating dots. I didn't take anything in insight. I took a few in prowess, and I took a couple in resolve, or one in resolve. So what's kind of neat about this is if you just hover over a tune, you'll get a flyout here that will tell you what a tune is. So as you're playing, you're not, diving into menus, you're not pulling up the book. You sort of have this information when you need it, when you're planning out your score, when you're currently on your score. And so what's neat is when you click these, it's going to ask you for bonus or penalty dice. So if you've got a reduced effect or a reduced D because I've got moderate harm, I can reduce that 1D here. Or let's say I have a bonus because rolling more dice is more fun. I can roll, and I forgot what I clicked on, but it was finesse. Okay. So what you see here is also a brand new feature in Alchemy we call spatial dice. And really, it's a fancy name for 3D dice, and we're really excited about that. But it'll roll your dice, and when those dice settle, it will drop the journal card in for you so that that's cataloged. And you can also always click on a journal card and see how all of your dice rolled out and where your bonuses are coming from. And this is going to have some automation in it that tells you whether it was a success or a critical success or a failure. Those things are auto-calculated based on your dice result. You can also individually click items and you can re-roll. And this is kind of funny because the spatial dice are re-rolling all the dice, but they're landing on all the same sides, except for that one that I re-rolled that re-rolled to a 2. Let's try that again. And that re-roll card will pop back in context. So now I've got 2 blades, a 5, and a 3. Yeah, so that is the ratings tab. And the pips here kind of show you where your dots are. Next, we've got our special abilities tab here. So again, another really great thing is to be able to hover over these and see what they do. And we kept the ones in here that you don't currently have so that you can plan your next upgrade. If you're waiting for your turn, or you're just kind of, sort of passively here, you can hover over these things again without accessing your character sheet and having to go to the abilities tab and read about those. This is kind of a fundamental design with Alchemy. Is the sheet is really meant to be something that you use to progress your character, to level up, to do things that you're not touching all the time. But really, when you're playing the game, we want to bring all of the elements that you touch a lot to the game experience itself. And that's why there's sort of a limited amount of tabs here. There's a couple trackers, but really these panels that come with you into the game should really supplement what you're doing. Here we have basic actions. So these are, again, Alchemy's automations. So in this, we've got a few dice rolls queued up for downtime activities, like making a fortune roll. So in here, it's going to prompt me for my trait rating and any disadvantages or advantages. So I can change those at any time before a roll, and then I can make my fortune roll. And then that's going to pop in, and it's going to give me an outcome. In the same sense, I've got, reduce heat, indulging my vice here. I can select an attribute for that and indulge my vice. Long-term project, recovery, all those automations are in there for you to make your downtime activities a lot easier. Now here we have the load tab. So as you remember in character creation, in my sheet, I actually built a load. I was taking a light load with my goggles, my blade or 2, and my pistol. And we've got nice flyouts here too that will show you, what those things are, but also give you the tag for this is a lurk item specifically versus something down here. They're sort of all untagged because they're for all purpose or all playbooks. What's really neat about this is I can change my load directly from here without going into my sheet. So if I want to take a light load again, I can just, drag the pistol out, and maybe on this one, I know I'm going to need some climbing gear. So I'm going to drag that in, and I've updated my load. If I want to change my load limit, I can just click into my sheet, go into edit mode, go to load, and change that to normal, save. And now we've got 5 slots. So we can add a few more things in here. And what's kind of neat is, this will allow you to go over your load. And that is so that, again, you can make overrides to the game if your game master allows it. It's not going to physically block you from doing those things, but it's going to let you know that you're overloaded by making this red and giving you this fraction that you are 7 out of 5. So yeah, that's the game experience panel for load. And we're excited about this new system of drag and drop. Let's pop out of this character for a second and let's look at some of the GM stuff. So we've got a new notion over here of follow along sheets. We call them sheets because we build them like sheets, but really these can be all kinds of different things. And in Blades, one of the things that's critical is a crew sheet. So if I pop this open as a GM, I can make a new crew sheet for my players. So if they want to be assassins, I can create an assassin sheet. The cool thing is this is shared with every one of the players in the game. So anyone in the game can click on it and edit it. I don't have to manually share it or anything like that. But when the characters pop it open, they can go in and make progressions, make edits, make changes. So in this case, we have a brand new crew. Let's give it a name, the Four Fangs. We are assassins. We are murders for hire. Again, we can always access the universe article here, which will bring us into the Assassin's article in the content universe, and it's an easy click away. So it doesn't take me out of the game. It just pops a pop-up over the game. And so in here, I can progress rep, which is directly tied to my turf claims. And I'll show you that in a sec. Actually, I'll show that right now. No, I'll show you that in a sec. And we've got our hold, we've got our tier, we've got XP here, we've got heat and law, wanted level, and coin and vaults. And so the idea with the ordering here is that we wanted to put everything that you touch the most often when you're progressing on this first tab. So these are the trackers that you're touching most often. So to eliminate clicks, you click in, you take a new hold, you take a new tier, you take some XP, and you save. You don't have to go into the menus here and try to find where those things are. Try to put that all really up front here for you. You'll see here that I don't have any vaults because I haven't taken the required upgrade. So those are grayed out right now. And I'll show you how that automation works if we jump over to the upgrades tab. So in upgrades, I've got all of my crew upgrades here. I've got all my layer upgrades and my training upgrades and quality and cohorts. Let's say I want to take a vault. So I'll take one vault. If I pop back over to the overview tab, now I've got 4 pips for a vault. If we pop back over there, the second pip is going to give me 8, and it'll show you right there, or sorry, 16. So if I click that, now I've got access to all of the pips here. In the same sense, let's take a look at rep, and then we'll hop over to the claims map. So the claims map is your character or your crew's sort of plotted course through obtaining territory within your given hunting grounds, or basically the grounds where you're doing all of your crime and criminal activity. So anytime you take turf, this reduces your rep tracker so that when you progress, it reduces the amount of pips that you have to take to progress. So if we look back here at rep, we've got one reduction here. So it's been reduced from the full amount to the amount here. And when I get here, I'm ready for progression. So in the same sense, if I take another turf and we go back, it's been reduced by 2. But yeah, the claims map is pretty cool. You can hover over different sections to get more information. And as you take turf, you just click and it highlights and locks that in. And your crew can take turf in that way. Looking at the second tab here, we've got sort of our crew tab, which is more of our information. So we've got our reputation here, professional. Our layer is an abandoned watchtower. Our hunting grounds are, our favorite operation type, I should say, is murder. And the location in which we do that is, the streets of Duskwall. And then below that, we've got our special abilities. So we can take those as we need to. We also have a veteran here where we can take additional abilities from all of the other playbooks for the crew playbooks. So maybe we want to take dangerous from the Bravos. And then we've got contacts here and our crew description. Next, we have our upgrades tab, which I already showed. And then finally, cohorts. So as we're building our crew, we might be building gangs and experts. So to add a gang, we just hit add gang. And here we've got everything that we need to add a gang. So if we select a type like rooks, we're going to get a header here that's going to tell us this is for a rook, which means when we add another gang and we select a different type, we've got nice clear separation between those different gangs. So within here, we can take an additional type, and we can take edges and flaws, our scale and quality, and our harm on the gang basis. Same thing for experts, although that's a little bit different. So we can take an expert named Garrett, and Garrett's a doctor, and Garrett has a loyal edge and a wild flaw. Quality and harm. All right, so that is the crew sheet. Again, like all the other sheets, you can rename, you can add your own images to represent your crew, and you've got a nice edit view, and you've also got a view. So if you just need to look at where things are, you can just click and see everything without making any changes or edits. Like with all of our sheets, you can also pop out. If you want to pop this out into a new window and keep it open all the time, you can certainly do that. Next up, we've got a couple of other sheet types here, and these are really handy for running campaigns. So for example, we have a score tracker, and this is primarily for the game master to use to track the score details. So maybe this score is called, Money Heist, and in it, I can give it some details like it's a stealth. We're going to sneak in somewhere. The target is going to be a Charter Hall Manor. The location will be Charter Hall, and the payoff will be 3. The heat will be 2. And then I can add details here for entanglements and notes. And what's cool is you can kind of continue to keep track of new scores as they come up. And at the end, you'll have a nice historical record of all of the scores that have taken place in the campaign. You can also clean these up when you're done by hitting remove and removing those scores. And then here we've got a general purpose notes panel. All right, next up, we've got our faction status. So this is sort of a jumbo tracker where you can track your statuses across all of the factions in Duskfall. So if I go into edit mode here, I've got my different values and my tier. The cool thing about these Roman numerals here is if I change this to like the number 3, it'll just convert to the Roman numeral. So that makes it easy for some of us who don't know all of our Roman numerals. So these are all of the factions in the underworld. We also have the institutions, labor and trade, the fringe, and citizenry. And of course, we've also got some linking in here. So if you want to learn more about the crows, you can click, and we've got all the details here for the crows, including their NPCs, their turf, their quirks, their allies, their enemies, their situation. Right on. So that is the faction status tracker. And again, all of the players in the game can access this as well. Last but not least, we have the prison claims map. So this will be used for running situations where you're incarcerated. It gives you the prison claims here, and you can take them just like your standard turf claims. And you've got a note section here as well. But yeah, this works in the same exact way, but it allows you to sort of track where you are within that process. All right, last up, I want to look at some of the scenes that we've built that come preloaded in the core book here. So in this, we've basically taken all of the art and made it available for you to show different locations in Duskfall as you're coming up with new stories and new scores. Of course, you can hang out here on the cool lobby screen, or if you want to go to the Duskwall Canal, we've got the artwork loaded in here as well. My favorite one is the opera. We've built this in a way where it shows a nice like little burn-in of the artwork while keeping all of your panels nice and clean. So there's not a lot of imagery kind of pushed into these corners. And we've got a nice custom motion effect that keeps sort of the vibe of blades burning the whole time. So again, at any time we can roll dice on this surface and everything looks nice and crisp. So yeah, we've got a bunch of scenes in here from the different artwork in the game. Show different vibes, different settings, different positions. We've also got all of the districts in here with the district artwork. So a little brighter here, but we've kind of dark moded a lot of these. The really cool thing with these is if you jump into the scene editor, you can add things like overlays, you can add music. So let's do that here for the docs. So I'm going to browse my assets. And I've got a lot of motion overlays here because I've purchased a lot from our marketplace. And I've got some that are pretty specific to Blades in the Dark. Kinemancer, one of our creators on our marketplace, just released a new pack called Industrial City. And those are all overlays that really tie really nicely into Blades in the Dark. So I'm just going to search docs or doc. And I've got a few in here that I can use. We've got exterior dock, dock night, and dock vacant night. This one looks pretty cool. So I'm going to grab that for my scene overlay. You can kind of see a preview of it there. And then for my sound, I've got all of the tabletop audio loaded in here, which is a free asset pack in our marketplace right now, which I highly recommend. And in this, I'm going to also search dock. Yeah, because we've got a couple here. Dock District and Bleak Water Docks. I'm going to add that. And we're going to see what this looks and sounds like. All right, so there's our motion overlay. Nice. So we've got a pretty cool setup here for telling a story. We've got our sound, and these overlays can be added onto anything. So let's jump into Silkshore here. I'm going to edit. Let's browse our assets, and let's see if we can find the Industrial City pack, so we can look at some of those. That's horror. Some cool stuff in there. Here's Industrial City. So we've got engine overload, fight, hangar, mansion, black and white. That's pretty cool. So yeah, in this pack, there are black and white variants for everything. So if you want to keep your Blades game kind of black and white, you can certainly do that. Or if you want to add a pop of color. See, also we've got day and nighttime variants as well. So let's try one of the black and white ones here for street. And we'll see what that looks like. All right, so we've got a cool little barrier in our periphery, a light post. We got some flies buzzing around. We've got some dust particles. This adds a little bit of life to the scene and creates a little bit more immersive nature to it. Let's try one more of the night market here. We'll go overlays. Here we go. Okay, so temple, train sounds pretty cool. Yeah, so here we've got a train that goes overhead, kind of under the docks, or under this train track, which is kind of cool because there's a train track here as well. So kind of creates this like multiple effect. This one actually fits pretty well. And this is a colored one. You can also get the black and white ones. But yeah, just kind of a neat little thing you can do there. You also have some character art in here. So if you wanted to have an NPC or a dialogue moment, showing one of these is pretty cool. Here's one of the blue coats. But yeah, that is just about it. So yeah, that is our Blades in the Dark integration. I hope you all love it. And if you're on Alchemy today, check it out. You can grab the free SRD if you want to give it a test drive. If you want all these cool assets, buy the core book and get access to the universe as well. If it's been a while since you've used Alchemy, I would encourage you to come back and try it out again. We've added so many new features, especially in our version 1 platform. And we've solved a lot of quality of life issues. And Blades in the Dark especially is kind of that next level game integration. And we've got a lot of cool things coming, including deep cuts, which is coming soon. Like I said, we're just working on the rules integration and how that edition switching happens. But here it is in our marketplace here, and that will be coming very soon. So hope you come back and join us, and we'll talk to you in the next one. Thanks.